We've had a kind of a lineup of Hall of Famers the last couple of days. Utah Sports Hall of Fame, the Utah Foundation Sports Hall of Fame Foundation is inducting a new class this fall that includes J. Don Blake, who we talked to the other day, the golfer. Greatest goalkeeper in Real Salt Lake history and Major League Soccer history. That would be Nick Raimondo. He joined us yesterday. And now the latest member of that class, one of the greatest football players to ever come out of the state of Utah. A 13-year career between the Ravens and the Lions and finishing up with the Eagles. And a guy I haven't seen for a couple of years. I think I saw him last couple of years ago at Ron McBride's golf tournament, but great to have on the Bill Riley Show today. Highland High's very own Haloti Ngata. Haloti, how are you?
I'm doing good, Bill. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How's life treating you and the family up in Park City right now?
Man, we're doing awesome. I just feel like it's a great place to be quarantined. There's a lot of outdoor life here, and we're able to bike around, do hikes, and so it's can't complain.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you guys are dealing well with it. That's I've talked to a lot of people around the country over the last couple of months on the show, and I really do feel like, Haloti, that's one of the advantages of being here in Utah. One, we haven't been so bad. I know Summit County, where you live, has had it, but the ability to get outside on trails and bikes and hikes, we just have the advantage a lot of people say in Philly or in Detroit or in Baltimore, three places where you played in your career. They don't have that same advantage of the wide open spaces that we do they?
Yeah, exactly. And I retired just in time so that I can just be here and enjoy those little things that a lot of people don't get.
So how's retirement treating you? You called it quits after the 2018 season with the Eagles. You were off last year. Do you miss it at all? And what are you up to right now?
I felt like I was so afraid of retiring that I didn't want to retire because I just didn't know what I was going to do. But my body was beat up. Just mentally towards the end of my career, I just wasn't into it as much anymore. I started questioning why I was playing football because I was so beat up. And once I started asking those questions to myself, I was like, it's time to hang up and hang the cleats up and just be retired. And I am so happy that I'm retired now. I just question now, for me, it's like, why did it take me so long to retire? Because I love hanging out with my boys. I have 3 boys, and just being a dad is awesome. And then I love the Utah outdoor life and getting into fishing and doing all the hikes and biking and trying to keep up with buddies biking in a mountain. And so it's been awesome. I've loved being retired. Body's feeling a lot better now that I'm not banging it up every week, and just going to be more happy.
It sounds like you're getting to do a lot of the things that when you're a full-time NFL football player that you don't necessarily get to do. It's not that you didn't have an off season, but even in the off season, you're working on your body and conditioning and staying in shape. Yeah. And you may not have time to ride around on the bike with the boys or go fishing for a couple of days or something like that. So it sounds like you're getting to make up for a little lost time right now.
Yeah, definitely. I went to Cuba last October and with my brother-in-law. We went fishing out there for 10 days, and my wife and I did an Iceland trip on our own, and did a Europe trip with my family in the last summer. And so I'm doing a lot of things that I wasn't able to do because, like you said, I just at the end of the season taking care of my body, getting it ready for the off season. You go through off-season workouts with your team, and then you go into OTAs, and then you're into minicamp, and then you have a month off. But that month is literally just working out for training camp because training camp is gruesome, brutal, and so you got to make sure you're in shape for that. And so it's literally a year-round thing for professional athletes. There's really no time off. So, I'm just catching up on all the little things.
Well, and you know this, too, having been in the game of professional sports, and especially in the game of football. There's only 2 ways your career ends. Either your body tells you it's over or a general manager or a coach tells you it's over, and you got to go out on your own terms, right?
Yes, I definitely did. And I was just so happy that somebody didn't have to kick me out. And that was one of the things I was kind of worried about, too, towards the end of my career. I just wanted to make sure I can walk away on my own terms and do it and not feeling like I needed to play because some type of hardship in my life. Like I needed more finances or didn't know what else I was doing. And after retiring, so it's just there's so many things. But I'm just glad and blessed to be able to walk away in my own terms.
Salt Lake's own, and of course, University of Oregon's own Haloti Ngata with us here on the Bill Riley Show today. You mentioned getting to do things in retirement that you weren't necessarily able to do before. If I'm not mistaken, you celebrated your retirement and I think your birthday too by climbing Mount Kilimanjaro a year ago, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was one and never do it again kind of type of thing. It was awesome. I was teammates with Chris Long my last year in NFL in Philadelphia, and he has a charity thing that does in Africa where it's the Water Boys, where they try to put wells in villages in Africa that don't have access to clean water. So part of the deal is you raise money to so you can climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and you can take up things that people, if a sponsor sponsored you, and you could take up a sign and put it up top of Kilimanjaro, and then you visit villages too. And so that was the best part of the whole trip, is going to villages, seeing the kids, and seeing their happy smiles of because you're bringing them good clean water, and they cling on to you. They use you as a jungle gym, and it was awesome. You feel great. You just couldn't be more happier just to help the kids out there, mainly in villages. That you have a bunch of villages that don't have clean water, so you're helping a lot of adults not having to walk multiple miles a day to get water and come back home. And so after that little villages visits, you do the hike at the end of the trip, and it was 5 days up, 2 days down, and it was an awesome experience. I just never going to do that again. It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. It's harder than training camp, a football training camp, literally, just because for me, it tested everything in my body, my mind, my physical body, my spirituality. It just tested and just made me wonder. I just had so many thoughts. In the beginning, it's fine because you have all that energy, but towards the end, I was thinking about if I was ever going to make it, and if I'm going to die, if I'm going to see my family again, and it was tough for me. I was the heaviest guy there, so it took me a little bit. I was the last one to get to the top, and in our group, and I was so happy I did it. Hung up my sign, retiring on top, and just couldn't be more happy that I was able to do that. And I first asked Chris Long if I could make my announcement up there, and he was more than happy to let me do that. And it was awesome experience. It's fun. I mean, I think it's great that everyone can do it. I just won't do it again unless one of my boys asked me to do it, or my wife. I'll slowly walk up again. But it was an awesome experience. I loved it. But I hope I don't have to ever do it again.
That makes those trails around Park City look like nothing then. If you can do Kilimanjaro, those trails around Park City are a piece of cake, right?
Yeah, the hikes around here are not too bad. But, I mean, there's still some trails here that can get you. And that's the thing, too. Before going out, I was in Philadelphia, and there's not many mountains or hills there that really practice. So I was in the gym practicing on a treadmill that was on the highest elevation, so that I can get used to some type of walking up some hills. So, and I didn't have any elevation practice either. I should have just came back to Salt Lake City to practice, but having my kids in school back in Philly, and just wanted to be with the family, and that's why I couldn't come back really. But yeah, that's what I think another thing that killed me, is not being able to work out at a higher elevation place.
Well, you better tell your boys if they want to do it, they shouldn't wait too long. Don't wait till they're your age, because you won't be able to do it by then, right?
Yeah, I might tell them to wait till they're my age, so I'll be too old.
Haloti Ngata with us here on the Bill Riley Show today. I asked Nick Raimondo, who's going into the Utah Sports Hall of Fame with you this fall, when he was on with me yesterday, and I know Nick really well, having done the RSL games for just about his entire career. But I'm curious, as you look back at yours, and your resume is unbelievable. You had such a good career, and to play 13 years in the NFL is an accomplishment in itself in that league. But you won a Super Bowl. You were a 5-time Pro Bowler. You were a 2-time first teamer in the NFL, which is even better than being a Pro Bowler. You end up in the Ravens Ring of Honor. You had a great collegiate career at Oregon where you were named an All-American. Was there anything, as you look back on your football career, whether it was pro, college, or even back to your days at Highland, I mean, do you feel like you checked all the boxes, or was there something you didn't get to do?
No, I feel like I've done a lot of things that I've kind of set goals for in my football career. Literally, I've been blessed to have great people around me. Starting in Little League and just great group of people with coaches and my father and just community leaders, and so everywhere I kind of went throughout my career in high school and college and NFL, I just been surrounded by really good people that gave me good advice and great leadership. With especially going into Baltimore with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs and guys like Jarrett Johnson, guys like that just helped me just continue to work on my craft and get better and better, and how to be take care of yourself mentally, physically, and I've just been blessed to have great people to help me accomplish a lot of my goals. I feel like without a lot of these people, I wouldn't be able to accomplish a lot of the things, just because there's so much to the football game that you don't get, while you're young. It's just football. Coaches teaching you your plays, and you do it to the best of your ability. Then you go to college, you learn how to study film, and getting stronger with your body physically, and then get to NFL. Then that mental game of the whole thing is like a whole nother level, and people don't get. You start to break down the game and break down offenses, like with what personnel's out there, what formation they're in. Is it what's the percent of run pass and down and distance, and splits of linemen, and what run plays they do out of this look, and what pass plays they do out of this, what kind of blocking schemes do they have. So it's like you just continue to grow as a football player, and just me having the great leaders and learning from a lot of people at each level, it just helped me become a better and better player every time I've moved up. And so for me personally, I wanted to be a Pro Bowler and wanted to help the team win a Super Bowl. Wanted to, never thought I could have my name put in a stadium, which will happen this fall with the Ravens, and just couldn't be more appreciative and blessed and thankful for the Lord blessing me with everything that I've been given. And and especially now I have a family with 3 boys, and I just feel like I'm just very blessed and thankful that I was able to do a lot of the things that I set out to do.
Haloti, you mentioned some teammates there and great people around you. I'm curious, a coach or a teammate that maybe had the greatest influence on you as a football player? I mean, it could be Mike Bellotti at Oregon. It could be your high school coach. It could be your dad. I mean, you go back in time, but give me the coach or teammate that had the greatest impact on you and made you kind of the player you were.
Honestly, I'd have to say my high school coach, Larry Wilson. After my freshman year at Oregon, my father passed away in a truck accident. So I honestly thought about quitting and just coming home and helping my mom with bills and trying to help her be around and help her, support her. And he kind of kept me going, and then he just would support me with whatever I needed, questions, with anything I had, wisdom, giving me wisdom. He's would help me financially if I ever needed anything. And it's just, he helped me through a lot of things, not only with the game of football, but just understanding, what I needed to do off the field, especially in the classroom. I wasn't really a good student, but he always pushed me, especially in high school, just understanding that, education is going to help me get further in my football career, and I couldn't agree with it more. It's just he always stressed that to me. Always had me doing study hall in high school, and just keeping a good close eye on me, so that making sure that I was getting all the schoolwork I needed done. It's just, I know without him, my road to my career would have definitely been more difficult.
So Larry Wilson, that's a great grab and great call right there. What was it like playing with those guys in Baltimore? You mentioned Ed Reed, Hall of Famer. Terrell Suggs, future Hall of Famer. You might be there someday too. Ray Lewis. That defensive meeting room had to be pretty special and pretty unbelievable. There's a lot of Type A personalities in that room too.
Yeah, that's what's so awesome about our defense when we're dominating for so many years. It's, yes, you do have a lot of Type A personalities, but just understanding the main goal of winning a Super Bowl, it was an amazing feat, and it was just awesome to watch. You have so many people, or so many men that are just from different walks of life, and like you said, have so many like strong personalities, and it was just cool to see how we could all come together, forget about our own selfish goals, our own selfish ambitions, that we just forget about all that and just try to, win this ultimate goal is the Super Bowl. And so it was amazing to play with those guys, and it just only just heightened my game even more, just because you watch those guys off the field, on the field, the way they studied, the way they took care of their bodies, and you couldn't just the only thing you do is just follow them, because they've kind of done everything, and so you just continue to look at those guys and do what they're doing and trying to take care of your bodies and study mentally, and it was very hard to not be a great defensive player on that defense, because you had so many great leaders that were just doing it the right way, doing the things they're supposed to, and getting the job done. So it just helped me even just be a better football player.
Kind of sounds like you couldn't have stepped into a better situation, because those guys were already established veterans and they were setting that example for you. So it was either get on board or get left behind, right?
Basically, if you weren't doing the things that you were supposed to on that defense, a lot of times if you wouldn't be on that team too long. If the leaders didn't really agree with the way you're doing things, a lot of times you kind of just got released the next year or during that year, because it's like you're all in, or you're kind of, like you said, left behind, and there's really no time for that in that sport, and so you wouldn't last long if you're not doing the things you're supposed to.
Kyle Whittingham says it's his mantra at Utah: all in or in the way, and you want to be all in, that's for sure. I know you're done now. Yeah. I don't know if you want to coach at some point or do any of that with your kids, but is mentoring something you enjoy doing with some of these younger college football players? A guy like Aleki Fotu who's coming out and he's now in the NFL. There was a lot of similarities between them. I know you had a better college career, but you guys, both big Polynesian guys, similar backgrounds, rugby obviously in it as well, terrific athletes for your size. Is at least, if not coaching, is at least mentoring some of these kids that are at BYU and Utah and Utah State something you might enjoy doing?
No, definitely. For me, I wouldn't go past high school for coaching football. I just like it. For me, it becomes more of a business when you get into college and NFL as a coach. So I just would like to keep it fun for myself and not have to worry about a business side of it. But mentoring, definitely. I love to mentor. I still talk to a lot of NFL football players, mainly D linemen. And I'd love to mentor any kid, and a lot of times I do go hang out with a lot of the Utah player or coaches, because some of those guys on their staff were mentors of mine. Morgan Scalley went to Highland High School, so I look up to him a lot. Sione Poha and
Big Lou,
Lou Powell. So Coach, those guys were older than I was when I was in high school, when they were in college at the U. So I kind of looked up to those guys, and so I do talk to a lot of those coaches, and they have me come talk to their kids, and I love being able to do that. don't want to get tied into, coaching too seriously. And just I wouldn't mind just mentoring kids and love it. And yeah, Lucky's amazing. To me, I feel like he had a better career in college, and I'm excited what he can do with Arizona, and excited to just watch these guys kind of grow and blossom.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a lot of fun watching your career, and it's been a lot of fun getting to know you down through the years as well. So I hope once this thing clears up a little bit, our paths will cross a little bit later this summer and this fall, Haloti. But congratulations on going into the Utah Sports Hall of Fame this fall with a great class, and go have fun with the kids and ride those bikes and stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Take care of yourself. That's Haloti Ngata with us here on The Bill Riley Show today.